everybody, and a very well welcome to One Hub Racing Season 28. We're at the 8th episode of the pre-race show, and we got a lot to talk about as the drivers head to Saudi Arabia at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Quite a difficult circuit, and we got a lot to dive into, so we're going to get going straight away. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me once again is Colin R. Mason. Colin, how are you doing?
Morning, Jess. Morning, all. Back for race day around a very, very tricky Saudi Arabia track.
Yep, it is, of course, very tricky for all of our drivers to negotiate. I think quite a lot of people that I've spoke to before today's race absolutely hate this circuit, so they're probably going to be relieved that this race is over after tonight, of course. I remember last time, Colin, the weather was dry to wet in the race. I can't remember what it was in qualifying, but it kind of spiced things up where quite a lot of people, including myself, got the wrong strategy. It's highly likely the similar thing could happen tonight with quite a lot of wet scenarios still available for the race, at least. For qualifying, it's dying down a bit. For the race, it's very likely that it could rain here.
Yes, which also means an increased likelihood of safety cars. And trying to get your strategy right with safety cars this evening is going to be absolutely crucial. We've got a lot of walls, so there is a far higher chance of a safety car around here than the likes of Japan, for example.
Yeah. I think we had quite a few safety. I think every single tier has had safety cars. Could we see a red flag maybe, Cole? Because we've had the rule change at the start of the season where we put red flags on increased. And this is the type of circuit where mistakes are likely to happen. So you never know. You never know. But before we go on to the hot lap, I want to draw attention to one rule, which it hasn't really played a factor until today, really, because this is one of the tracks where people could potentially do this, but it's not allowed. So it's DRS chicken. DRS chicken is not allowed, and I'll go through the rules quickly. So whilst battling at another driver towards the DRS detection zone, drivers are not allowed to use a tactic called DRS chicken, and what that means is the drivers are not allowed to lift off the throttle or sudden declaration to allow the attacking driver past them before reaching the DRS detection. Drivers who do this can be reported to the stewards, and if you look at the track map, especially towards the final few corners, turn 26 and turn 27, the DRS detection point is there, and there's another DRS zone there. Some people can lift off to try and get the other person through, and then they get DRS. That is not allowed at One Hub. If people get caught, they'll be sent to the stewards.
Yeah, exactly that. So the reason why we put this rule in place was a couple of seasons ago. A couple of drivers were doing it, and the drivers behind weren't expecting those drivers to lift on them halfway down the main straight and caused a very big accident. So we decided to introduce this rule to stop that from happening.
Yes, and make sure you don't do that, please. And if you see someone that potentially might do it, then please report it to the stewards, and the stewards will look at it. Of course, we also touched on in the stewards show that you can't cross the pit lane entry or exit line. If any of you do that, you will get reported to the stewards. The commentators will be keeping an eye on out as well. So if the commentators see it, they can report you to the stewards as well. So just because a driver hasn't seen it, it doesn't mean one of us commentators will not see it. So the commentators are allowed to keep an eye on this, and if they do see someone breaking the rules for pit lane entry and exit, then that's not allowed. But before we talk about the drivers, let's have a hot lap, and this was done by one of our P1 drivers, Dave, and it was commentated by Mr. Evil Dragon. This is how you take a hot lap around the Jeddah Corniche circuit.
Here we are then, onboard lap around Jeddah, sponsored by Sim Racing Setup. Get a good line out of the last corner and quickly down towards the start-finish line. Building up speed of nearly over 330 kilometers an hour. Spot your braking zone down on the right-hand side, and then quickly, of course, bring it in to the apex. Left, quickly chuck it to the right. Make sure, of course, use all the track out to your advantage. Down in towards turn number 3. Quickly left, bring it straight all the way to the right into one of the fastest little sections on this circuit. Watch out on the curb on the left-hand side of the circuit. Very easy to bring a car into a wall, and then quickly back to the left and down the straight towards the very fast, slightly banged left-hand corner. Sector 1 complete. In towards Sector 2 we go then, straight away through the back corner, bring the car all the way, use all the space to the right-hand side of the circuit, and then bring it ever so slightly back to the left to open up the next couple of corners. Right, and quickly back to the left, almost blind as you come towards the first of the 2 DRS zones on the back straight then. Long little straight, and all you got to do then is wait all the way down here for the quick chicane. Whatever you do not hit the inside wall. Nice through that, quickly down a gear, and then straight back up into 7th, and soon enough into 8th. Into the second DRS zone, this one coming down towards the last corner. Absolutely pedal to the metal. Straight then, all the way to the last corner. Spot your braking zone again, like I said earlier on. Make sure you get an absolutely perfection on the exit, and then straight to the line. Look to the barriers, look to the sky, look to the line, and across the line we go, and there is a lap of...
So there we go then. That was a lap around the Jeddah Corniche circuit, and hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea on how to take it. There's certain points of the track where he takes it in different gears than I do, but I might give that a go later on, and hopefully that's helped you a little bit. So let's have a look at the P4 tier then, which we did absolutely rubbish last time. But before we look at the P4 tier, me and Colin introduced something last week called our predictions championship, and before I show the spreadsheet of the scores on the doors, Carl, would you like to go through how it all works again?
Yes, definitely. So we obviously pick our pole sitter for each tier and our top 3 for each tier. Now, if we correctly predict the pole sitter, we get a point. If we predict a driver on the podium and he does get on the podium, we get a point. But if we pick the driver in the right position on the podium, we get 2 points. So that's how it's gone so far. And spoilers, I'm not happy.
You could see what we predicted against the actual results. So you can see what Colin predicted, what I predicted, and the actual race results. And as you can probably tell, P4, I did absolutely rubbish. And you did rubbish in P1, but everything else looking quite consistent. And I've got bragging rights this week because I'm leading 11 points to 7 over Colin, because I almost predicted the top 3 correctly in the right order in P2 and P1. I'm sorry, P3 and P4, we got your predictions wrong for most of it, but I correctly predicted Rydell for P2 in, what was the race last week? I can't remember what race it was. Bahrain, there we go. It was Bahrain last week. Yeah, and you predicted the win last week as well for Bonyfish. So we got one right, but yeah, P4, we need to get our act together. So there we go. So and I get to go first in P4 this week, since you went first in P4 last week. So it'll be I go first P4, Colin P3, then it's me P2 and Colin P1. So yeah, we and then we can't predict roughly the same predictions. We can predict the same top 3, but we can't predict the same order. But anyway, let's move on to the P4 tier. And last week we saw a really, really good result from Reaper, taking his 2nd win of the season, and he looked comfortable right from the get-go as well. And his pace was just he didn't necessarily get pole, but his pace was just there. He redeemed himself from last week, and he got the strategy right.
Yeah, sorry about that. My Discord decided it didn't want to play ball.
I didn't notice that, so that's all good.
But yeah, looking at last week, so Reaper got the victory last week with Jamie in 2nd place, which is exactly what Reaper needed to close that gap to Jamie, because it's now just 19 points in it, so it is close, and we've got a lot of races left to go.
And people may think, nah, 19 points are not close. Remember what happened to Papa Squanch in P2? He was a little bit further back last season. No, further ahead last season. And then people were starting to close in, so anything could happen. So speaking of the championship, of course, our top 2 in the championship, finished in the top 2 last week, not necessarily the same order. So Jamie on 104 points, and Reaper is in second on 85 points, closing the gap. And Jake, despite me just missing out on the podium, he is still in the 3rd position, about 20 points back between himself and Reaper. 4th place Gamer James, still one of our good surprises of the season, I would say, James. And him and Jake had a very good battle in Bahrain last week that we covered in the Steward Show, Cole.
Yeah, they had a great battle. Let's hope that more battles like that continue. Because, look, you can see there that they are, at this moment in time, fighting over 3rd place in the championship. Joe Flats, he's now starting to knock on the door. Jax had a bit of a nightmare recently with regarding his results. Obviously, he had a DNS in round 7, but had a DNF last week. So his season, unfortunately, starting to derail a bit. So let's hope that Jack can get a good result tonight.
Yeah, and it's hurting the constructors, so we'll go through a little bit like that in a minute. Mark Crawford, I believe he got a penalty, so he dropped down into 10th place, so that's why he is further down as well. And there's quite a few people moving up. Michael just missed out on the win, made some strategy mistakes in some of the races. Again, he could not predict the safety car, but he still finished in 3rd, and he can still climb his way up. Even though he's got 34 points, he could still get a top 5 or maybe even a trophy, you never know. So him doing very well. He got pole last week as well. I expect him to do very well this evening too. And Bryce, look at this. Due to all the penalties that have been received in P4 tier from last week, Bryce has got his 1st point of the season, and not just 1 point. He's got 4 points, Cole. Really good result, and he just kept it clean for most of it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Nice to get. That'll give him a bit of a boost of confidence. So that's his 1st points of the season. 13th seems to be his favourite position, doesn't it? Unlucky for some. But now off the mark, up into 16th with 4 points.
Yes, indeed. So well done to Bryce. A great job from him. Of course, Cos was up there during the race, one of our new drivers. But unfortunately, he had a bit of an incident, didn't he, which costed him to drop down into 11th place. So I expect him to be up there near the top again in Jeddah, and he can't afford to make these mistakes. This is a tier where most drivers are new to league racing, new to our league. Quite a few drivers are probably put in quite a bit of practice in, because you can't just turn up to this track and just do well at it. You've got to get the muscle memory, and that's what I found around this track. I haven't raced in it for quite a few months, and I was struggling to realise why I was slower than what I was doing a few months ago. And now it's because I didn't get the eye in. I need that muscle memory again to get used to the circuit, and that's what the P4 drivers need to do.
Yeah, exactly that. This is not the type of track that you can really do a handful of laps and go, yeah, that'll do. It doesn't work like that round here. Some other tracks, yeah, you might be able to get away with it, but not around this track. Because one very, very small minor error and you're in the wall. And of course, if you're not practicing as well, that's when these track extensions and corner cuts are going to play their part as well. So I was saying to Jess before the start of the stream, the driver who keeps it out of the wall and doesn't get penalties is going to do very well this evening.
And potentially could get their best result. That could be their best result of the season. That's why Bryce got P9, because he cut out the mistakes that he made in the last few races, and everyone else around him made mistakes. So that's what got him a P9. So there we go. So it is my turn to go first in terms of P4, and I need to get this right, because unfortunately, last week I didn't do well. So, right. I think I know who I'm going to get pole. And it's going to be Madge. Michael is going to get pole position, I think, tonight. No, saying that, it'll probably be Reaper, but there we go. But yeah, I think Michael is going to get pole position tonight. Taking the win, I think it's going to be Reaper who's going to take the win. I think Jamie is going to get P2. I don't know who's going to get P3. I'm going to go with Joel Flats. That's my top 3 and pole.
Okay.
I'm not looking at penalties, and I'm not looking at who's missing. So, there we go.
Yeah, spoiler, there's a lot, and we don't know what they are, so this one's going to be tricky. So, my punt for pole, I am actually going to go with what you said, and I think... Oh, I don't know. No, I'm going to go Reaper for pole.
There we go. So you're going to
Reaper
go...
is... Yeah, stealing your idea. Now, in the race, I think Joel is going to take victory tonight.
Oh, good shout. Good
He's gonna have
shout.
a good result. I think Jake is going to get second. And I think Jamie is going to get third place.
There you go. Our
That
positions
is
are
my
locked in.
punt.
They're locked in now for P4, so we could not change it. So there we go. And I'll be interested to get your predictions in the chat. And of course, you can catch the P4 tier at 3 p.m. this afternoon with Liam in the commentary box. Not sure if Papa's joining yet. He's trying to sort out his PlayStation and it might not be fixed. So if Papa doesn't get fixed, then I'll have to get the PlayStation out and join the PS party whilst I'm on PC in the game. But we'll see. But you can join Liam at least. He'll be there at 3 p.m. UK time. So let's move on to the P3 tier. Bony Fish. We got a change of leader in the championship for the first time since round 1. Bony Fish, after a miserable Japan, he took the race victory. He looked so comfortable out there in P1. No one else could stop him. And he is leading the championship. Not by much, though, but quite a lot of his rivals have lost points on him, which is really going to help him for the rest of this championship.
Yeah, what I find absolutely mad about this title is that last week, Welsh Benjamin, he was on top. And one less than optimal race, and he's down to P4, which shows how ridiculously close this tier is. Absolutely astonishing. Bony Fish now 6-point lead, and Welsh Benjamin now 15 points off the top. So he was sitting pretty at the top of the field, now dropped down to 4th. So that is not ideal for him at all. Can he make a bit of a comeback now at Jeddah? And one thing I noticed, Jess, is that the top 3 in the title finished top 3 last time out in Bahrain as well.
Oh, yeah, I only just realised that. Nice spot there. That's what happened to P4 last week as well. And I just want to give a massive shout out to Rydog because I had a punt. I was very confident, and I know Rydog's in the chat, and he was worried after the talk show that I might have jinxed him, but luckily I didn't jinx him, so woohoo, go me. But Rydog, obviously, the track last week, Bahrain, is just so much better on a pad compared to a wheel. And Rydog managed to take that advantage. He had good pace throughout. I don't think he had any penalties to take, which is quite a lot of his rivals did. But he was able to hang on to the pace for the majority of the race. And he had a good battle with the likes of Bony Fish throughout the race as well. So Rydog, finally, the good luck's now starting to come to him. He's been very consistent throughout the last few races, and he's got his second podium of the season because I think he got his first podium in round 1 in Spain. And Adejo, he DNF'd in Japan, and he got a podium last time out in Bahrain. So those 3 looking very good. Welsh Benjamin, the last 3 races, all 3 of them he's finished outside the top 5, which is not what he wants. And I looked at his pre-race interview, Cole. He's not aiming for victories, but I looked at one of his questions. He likes this circuit, just to put it out there.
Ooh. So will Welsh Benjamin be hoping for a dry race? Looking at his comment in the chat, I believe so. So I'd be very curious to know which of these drivers are hoping for rain and which ones are hoping for a full dry race. It's gonna be absolutely mental, this track in the rain. I've driven it in the rain.
It's horrible.
I love it. I love it, weirdly. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's the challenge of it, the fact that you could be on your Todd somewhere. and it's still a challenge. You're not just driving around aimlessly. You know, it's every corner is got high risk of ending up in the barrier. Yeah, I love this track in the rain, I gotta be honest.
I don't, but I know Ride Dog does, because he said that in his pre-race interviews as well. I've been nosing around my competitors because I'm lovely like that. But another driver that did well last week was Joe. 5th place for him last week. He hardly picked up any penalties during the race, so that helped him. He said he wasn't looking forward to this track. Can't even pronounce his name. Head Fist. Oh, I'm rubbish. P4. I believe he got driver of the day for P3 tier last week as well. He got the most votes, and yeah. I have to say, if I was a betting man, I didn't even watch the stream, but at the end of the race, once I stopped recording, I was like, he's going to get one of the driver of the day nominations, and guess what? I was right, and very well deserved for him. So yeah, that's going to be interesting as well. Waitsy got unlucky with the strategy. His tyres, I think, choices were not great, but he's got a lot of work for Saudi Arabia as well. Quite a few drivers are picking up much better results. Jason getting a decent result last time out, 6th place again, so he's back to winning raids as well, and he's quite confident around this circuit as well. So I'm excited for this tier, really. And spoiler alert, this is the tier, Cole, that has the most amount of penalties going into today. 9 people have taken car wear penalties for Jeddah. Am I surprised? No.
Good luck doing the grid, Jess.
Hey, yeah.
This doesn't surprise me. No, I think this is the track where I think most drivers I would expect most drivers to do it.
Yes, but I'm not gonna tell you if it's gearbox or engine though. You're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, so some of these drivers, they're going to be thinking, do you know what? I haven't taken an engine yet. The likes of Jamie, who's done all his pens for one.
And Benjamin in P3.
Benjamin in P3. So they're going to be sitting in a lovely position, you know, for drivers who either haven't elected to take their penalty here or have already done theirs. Yeah, so whilst Benjamin, yeah, like you said, Jesse, he's done all his, so he's looking in a good position today.
And speaking of positions, it is your turn to go first for P3 this week.
Woo! Right, so my poll is going to be Adagio.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, bit of a left field one.
That's not what I would have gone for, so I'm okay. But I know you're going to pick the top 3 I'm going to pick, so...
So, my race victory is going to be Welsh Benjamin. That's
Damn
going
it!
to be my punt for the... Yes!
I was going to pick him! Don't worry, I've got a plan B. I've got a plan B. It's all right.
In second place, I'm going Bony Fish. And in third place, I'm going to go Hedquist.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. So, my pole position is going to be Welsh Benjamin. And I think he's going to take the race victory. Oh, no. You picked him. Never mind. Bony. So I have to pick Bony Fish for the race victory. Welsh Benjamin will be P2. And third place, I'm going to go with... I can't go ahead, Chris, because you predicted him. I'm going to go with... Adagio. That's my top 3. And I'm praying hopefully I'll get it right. Please. Oh, my God.
Come on, drivers, I need points. I'm 4 points behind Jess. Do me a favour and help me out here.
And drivers, come on. I want to get clear of Cole. So there we go. But the commentators are wrong in the lineup. So Lukey didn't have time to change it. So Lawrence can't make the commentary box for P3 this evening. So it'll be Jake and Curly take you through the action this evening, and you can catch the action at 4:30 p.m. UK time. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Colin, for the next bit. Colin. Hello. I think his mic's muted or he's gone off Discord. Or am I gone off Discord? Hang on a second. I need to check Discord to see if he's gone or not. He's probably BRB knowing him. He was meant to be interviewing me. And
I'm back.
Oh,
There you go.
There you go.
My headset disconnected. God knows why. It's been playing up the last couple of days.
Oh, for goodness sake. Right, over to you, Carl.
Right, so we are going to interview a certain person, Jess. So Jess, as we know, has had a very, very good season, but it's been a season of two halves, really, so far. So for the first four races, her best result was second, but had 10th, 11th, and 12th. And the last two has been 2, 5, and 8. So, Jess, are you pleased to be up in 6th place, or do you feel as though you should be higher?
Well, I was speaking to Mike about this a few weeks ago, and hello, everyone. But there were plenty of races where I could have definitely been higher. The pace was there in quite a few tracks. Spain, one of them. I felt like I was very good at Spain in practice, but unfortunately, I hit the pit lane and I ended up starting at the back around Spain. And with Spain, it's just so hard to overtake. It's absolutely crazy. So, yeah, I lost points there. Austria, I have to say Austria was one of my best races of the season. Out of my two podiums I've had, Austria's been my best race of the season because I was battling as well for the position. Could have got the win, but again, ERS strategy didn't work well. Australia and Britain, again, pace was there. But again, both races I've had bad luck. Lap 1, I got involved in losing quite a few positions. And I think it was lap 8 and lap 9, I had an incident with Max. But Britain, disconnection. I was on for a P2, but disconnection happened. But then the last few races, I was quite happy with my performance. Hungary, I did quite well. I was on for the win at one point, but realistically, with my strategy, I feel like I couldn't do it. Japan, I really enjoyed Japan because I had to climb my way through the field because lap 1 I spun. And round 8 took my engine penalty and I climbed my way up through the grid and finished 8th. So, yeah, the last few rounds I felt like were good, but plenty of races like Spain, Britain, and Australia where I was up near the... I hate to be cocky, but I was near the front, pace-wise, but just mistakes kept cropping in.
Yeah, you've had a brilliant season, I must be honest. And one thing that has impressed me the most about yourself is, yes, you've had some, unfortunate situations, but you haven't given up. You've kept pushing and kept your record of points in every single race.
Whoop, whoop.
Which is pretty impressive, to be honest. Jess, just looking at the title now, you're only 11 points off Adagio in 3rd place.
Oh.
Are you gonna do it or what?
I want to. I really want to. I think, safe to say, I'm not going to challenge for the title because I think the gap is so far ahead now, but anything can happen. So I think my aim's to win the title, probably not this season, which is a shame, but things happen nowadays. But I think my goal now for the rest of the season is to try and get a trophy and get 3rd. And Adagio, I think quite a few races I've been battling him for wins. And the first few races of the season, we shared the same amount of luck, whether it's good luck or bad luck. But now we're starting to get to a point in the season where he's getting better results than me, or I've got better results than him. So I think he's my main rival this season, and I'm going to do my absolute best to get a good result tonight to try and beat him. You never know, but he's looking so quick around Jeddah, so I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, so I actually think you're going to be doing very well, Ranji. I think this track suits your style, I think, of consistency and not making mistakes. Now, we've got a few races left. Which track out of the remaining races do you think you're going to perform the best at?
Oh, I think the remaining tracks that we got left, apart from Jeddah, are one of my favourite tracks, or my favourite tracks. So I have no idea how am I going to do. I think the track the tracks that have got a really soft spot for me is Abu Dhabi. I've always looked quick around Abu Dhabi since F122, so I think Abu Dhabi, I'm strong in qualifying, strong in the race, knowing the weather system is going to rain there. And I think another track that I've done well is Las Vegas. Las Vegas, I always tend to get the ERS strategy on pat. I've been given some good tips from quite a few drivers in top tiers in leagues, and I think I got it on pat. I think it's hard to tell, Cogs. I think the last 4 tracks, I think Miami, I think is out of the equation, but the other 3 tracks remaining, China, Abu Dhabi, and Las Vegas, I got a really good shot, but Abu Dhabi's got to be my top choice.
Nice. Now, one final question. You teamed up with an old age pensioner this season.
Oi!
Well, technically he is, I'm not lying. Are you enjoying being teammates with him, or is he a pain in the ass?
I have to say, he's a pain in the ass, really. Joking. It took a while to get used to our ways of working because I usually like to talk a lot during the races. But now I've got into a rhythm where I only talk when I need to, like if I get damage or if I'm about to pit or something like that. And with a track like Jeddah, I probably need to concentrate anyway. So I think we found our ways of working now, and we can... I think our communication's got a little better as well. I think J.R. Mason seems to be a lot better than me in qualifying, but I do a lot better than him race pace. But he's closing up to me, so he is getting up there. So I think we're both learning, and I have to say J.R. Mason is doing very well in the P3 tier. His form of late is improving quite a bit. So it is good to have him as a teammate this season.
Nice. Well, I'm sure the rest of the community will agree with me that we wish you best of luck for the rest of the season, and keep pushing and try and get that top 3.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And thank you, Joss. Right, so driver Jess is gone, commentator Jess is here. Hello. You probably missed me. Hello. So we got to move on because we are running out of time here. So let's move on then to the P2 tier. And I was very happy with my predictions last time out, so hopefully I'll get it well here as well. But last time in P2, we saw Josh pick up yet another victory. He is, so far in this tier, have got 2 wins out of 2, which is astonishing. And he's been looking so consistent, and his race pace has been up there. He won by about almost 6 seconds last week. He did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant drive from Josh, making it 2 wins in a row at the minute, and he's already in 6th place.
Wow.
You know, he's only 20 odd points off the top 3. Yes, he's quite far from Jacob. Oh, excuse me. I don't think he's going to be annoying Jacob in the title too much. But, you know, he's only 26 points off Kinney in 2nd place. Could he do it? I think he can, you know. I think he really could challenge the top 3 before the end of the season. He's going to have to drive exceptionally well throughout each race. You know, and really, to be honest, stay on the podium for the rest of the season. And then he's got, you know, half a chance.
Yeah, 41 points. You can see it on your screen. 41 points. And he's not that far off the likes of Larkin and Lukey. He's not even far off top 3. I predict he could be top 3 by the end of the season, which is probably not going to be good news for the likes of Lukey and Salau and Kinney as well. But, yeah, he has had a strong start and he's not looking to continue. But just look at the... we keep saying this every week, Cole, and I'm going to repeat it every time until the cows go home, unless he makes a mistake. Jacob has finished out... He hasn't finished outside the top 3, and the last few races he's got second. Brilliant result. He's leading by quite some margin. Out of all the tiers, it's the biggest gap between P1 and P2 by loads.
Yeah, he's got such a big lead now. He can almost start to play the percentages more now, which in all fairness, Jacob tends to do anyway. If you look at, I don't know whether any of you tuned into the Friday Steward stream, but we showed it, a little battle with Jacob and Lukey there, and this is what it's all about. Jacob knows when to go for moves and knows when not to, and he's got the pace to be able to bide his time, and to be honest, some drivers in this tier are sometimes a little bit desperate and make small errors, and Jacob is not making any, so it's really looking now like a battle for second place, which is
he said
very,
it now.
very, very close.
He said it now. Oh my God! But
I hope I haven't jinxed him. Flipping it.
Yeah, he did in the chat as well. And Rydog's actually made an interesting point in the chat, and he's predicted that Jacob would definitely be a solid runner in P1 next season. I think so. I think he could challenge for top 10, maybe even top 5 in the P1 tier next season. And yeah, don't forget, he started in the lowest tier. He was very new to league racing last season, and now he's come up being so competitive in this tier, and he could potentially be in P1 next season. That just shows the amount of progression he has had this season. And everyone else around him has has had at least one. I think everyone else around him has had at least one bad result, apart from Josh, of course, who's had 2 victories. So, of course, we'll have to wait and see. But Mike's made an interesting point that it could be dependent on the DLC and how much the cars change. Yes, we could have drivers that could struggle with the DLC. We don't know. We don't even know what the DLC is going to be. But we'll see on that one. But one driver that impressed me last time out was Chris. P3, he had a nice battle for the podium with Lukey last time out, and it was great to watch. Again, we covered it in the Steward show, but it's good that Chris is getting good results again, because Chris was a bit he wanted to be in P1 like from the get-go. We strongly suggested he'll be in P2, but he was like, no, I want to be in P1. And then he said, is there any space in P2? I'm struggling in P1. We looked at his results and we're like, yeah, he's P2 pace all day long. And it's just great he's finally having the luck, Cole.
Yeah, he had a great race last week. Absolutely tremendous. Really pleased for Chris. He thoroughly deserved it. And his battle with Lukey, which we saw on Friday, was brilliant to watch. Fair play. Side by side all the way around for about 3 or 4 corners. And it's just great to see Chris back where he belongs on a podium. Yeah, on the podium. That's exactly what he deserves, I think, for Chris. And we'll see if he can keep up. He's 25 points. He's not that far off the top 10. So if he can keep up his consistency heading in towards the rest of the season, you never know. He could do well. Alfie got his best result of the season last time out with a 4th place. He started on the softs, I believe, last week. Which didn't go his way, unfortunately. And other drivers that have had decent results. Larkin got a 5th place last time out, which I have to say, I think he'll be happy with. He doesn't really like Jeddah. I've seen his faults in the management chat. Jonas, another 7th place for him. Alexa, of course, missed last week, so, of course, he's not going to be around. And Lukey's still not far off Salah for P3 in the championship. So there's going to be an interesting fight between the management, I would say, in this tier, because they're 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Look at that. Yeah, that's bad, isn't it? To be honest, Larkin should be far higher than that. He's had so much bad luck this season, especially the first round. And I think he made it out of 3rd gear, and that was about it. It was just horrendous.
It was
He obviously
awful,
did
wasn't it?
miss- Yeah, he did miss one race as well. But, he's not out of the top 3, not by an absolute long shot. Only 18 points off Salo. And, we've got some very tricky races to come up. And this is where it's starting to get to the point now where it's all about how do drivers deal with pressure, which is my favourite part of the season.
Yeah, I think, of course, Jamie, when I've been speaking to him in P40, he's not thinking about the title. He's thinking more about every race as it comes along, and then when it gets to the final round, that's when he thinks about the championship. Well, as soon as he knows that the gap is like almost mathematically impossible, that's when he can think, right, I could win this championship. But at this point, he doesn't think about it. That's what the drivers have got to do. That's what I think didn't do me well. I think a few seasons ago in P2, where I was up there, and then because the pressure got to me, that's where I started to make mistakes and get bad luck. But yeah, you got to take every race as it comes, and that's what the front lot are definitely doing. Kinney, unfortunately, got very unlucky last time out, same with Salau, so he's got a lot of work to do. Yeah, but yeah, in my advice, if you are in the running for a title in any of the tiers this season, take every race as it comes, and don't focus on the championship until you can sense that it could be coming to you, which is ideally the final few races of the season. Not now. You can't focus on it now. Focus on it. Focus on it when it comes to the last few races of the season. But if you're in a position where you're a little bit further away from the championship leader, you've got to start focusing on getting the best results possible.
Yeah, exactly that. But I'm just looking at the top 4 now, and obviously we know Jacob is the most consistent there. But Lukey is the one who is, outside of Jacob, probably the most consistent driver out there at the minute. And that will help. I mean, you can see that Kinney's had 3 podiums, including a victory. Salo's had 2 podiums with a victory. Lukey has had 1 podium, which was the 3rd, and he's only 6 points off Kinney. So it just shows, the importance of consistency, and that's what Lukey's got at the minute. And he's driving very, very well at the minute. I've got to be honest. I got a sneaky suspicion that Lukey will get second in the title.
Oh, is that your bold prediction? Is that your bold prediction, Lukey? Colin?
Yeah, that's my bold prediction. Unless, Kinney and Salo can remove a bit of bad luck and try and get that level of consistency a bit better.
Yes.
But, once you get into the meaty end of the championship, I've seen drivers completely change. That they find an extra gear, and sometimes they go backwards where they try too hard. So it's all about the mentality of the drivers now.
Yeah. If you have a good mentality, that's what's going to help you. The reason why I'm laughing, Cole, is not at you. I'm just laughing at the chat. So Mike saying, so what you saying I should commentate and curse Lukey? No, you shouldn't commentate and curse anybody.
Mike will commentate and curse anyone, and he'll have no control over it either.
Honestly, we need the points. We need the points in the Predictions Championship. And speaking of Predictions Championship, I'm going to go first for P2 this week. And I have a feeling I might steal Colin's predictions here. So, but my poll and win, because I think that person's going to take the victory as well. It's going to be bold. But I think my poll and the win is going to go to Josh. My P2 is going to go to Jacob. And then P3, I'm going to go with... Oh, this is tough, this one. I am going to go with... I'm thinking of going with what I went with last week with Kinney, but I don't know. I'm going to go with... Yeah, why not? Kinney. I'm going to go with Kinney again. So pretty much same prediction as last week, apart from Paul. Colin, what's your prediction? And have I stolen at least one?
So, my pole position is going to go to Jacob. that's my pole punt. For first place, I think Kinney is going to take the victory.
Ooh.
A nightmare last week. But I think Kinney is going to get
Mike agrees with you for pole. I'm seeing in the chat.
I'm going to go with Josh in second and then Jacob in third place. So those are my predictions.
So we pretty much predicted the same top three.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And we've gone with different polls. So there we go. So you can catch P2 at 6 o'clock with Mike and Max in the commentary box, the two M's. Interesting. But let's move on to P1 now. I know we're running out of time, so we've got to be as quick as we can because we got to reveal the weather very soon. But for P1 tier, as you probably noticed last week if you're watching the stream, Kevin couldn't make last week. And Alex took another victory, his third win, and the only driver to pick up 3 wins this season. And the gap now, let me just do the math. So Kevin is on 97. Alex is on 91. The gap has been brought down to 6 points. Just like we've seen in P3. The gap is about 5 or 6 points between P1 and P2 and P3. That's what we're seeing in P1 as well. It's separated by 6 points between Kevin and Alex. I advised the drivers heading into Bahrain last week, you got to get a good result to close in on Kevin. And that's what Alex did and nobody else. Craggy obviously had a good result. He could have got up there for the victory. But out of the championship contenders, the one that had the best result by far was Alex.
Yes. I was quite surprised that Marco wasn't up there. Marco only managing 8th place. Lakito only managing 10th. So those two drivers would not have been happy. And Lakito's had a bit of a nightmare the last 2 races, where he's been 11th and 10th. Can he get inside? Can he get back into single-digit finishing positions? We'll have to wait and see. He had a great start of the season. 5th, 6th, 2 seconds and another 5th. But the last 2 races, only 11th and 10th. And of course, Alex now has the most race wins out of anyone this season with 3.
Yeah, 3 race wins for him. Of course, he finished in the points in every race, but his worst result was round 3 in Australia, where he got a 12th. He got very unlucky there. And he got a much worse result than Marco did in Silverstone, where Marco got 11th. So there we go. So it's quite close still between the top 3. Marco really needs to redeem himself. Same with Lakitu as well. He got very unlucky last week. Very unlucky with the last 3 races, actually. An 11th in Japan and a 10th in Bahrain. Could this be the race where Jeddah, he could perform? It's going to be tough for him because Lakitu has got to cut back on the mistakes.
Yes, that's what's derailing his season at the minute. And he had a lot of penalties in corner cutting penalties in Bahrain as well. Is that going to derail him tonight? Because this track is far easier to get corner cutting than Bahrain. So that's one thing he's got to get a handle on.
Yeah, corner cutting, I think, we were saying that in the Steward show, that the track limits, I think, is going to be absolutely key. I think especially if you look at the track map, turn 10, I think one of the corners where you can get a corner cutting penalty, as is crossing the pit lane exit line is so easy to do as well. So these drivers have got to be careful, and even turn 22 as well could be, I think, an issue for some of our drivers as well. And the battle that I want to draw attention to, which was not covered in the Steward show, which I was gutted that it wasn't actually, and I was hoping that it was, but it wasn't. The battle between, I think there was 2 battles. Craggy and Alex, that battle was spectacular. But the battle that I also enjoyed watching, and it was hard to pretty much switch between the 2. It was between Arnaud and Senna. Senna can't make it this week, but Senna and Arnaud's battle was just next level stuff. They trusted each other. Of course, they're both ERT drivers. So of course, they would trust each other. And it was just sensational. And Senna and Arnaud both got one of their best results of the season. Arnaud getting a P6 and Senna getting a P5. they both really enjoyed themselves, and it was great to watch these two battling, as well as a lot of the likes of Craggy and Alex as well. It was nice to watch, and it shows that if you have the trust in another driver and you know what the other driver could do, you can race wheel to wheel, go side by side, and you're not going to make contact with them.
No, exactly that. And that's the key thing, the level of trust between drivers. We saw it with Craggy and Alex as well, where they can trust each other racing, and it makes it so much more fun and enjoyable for everyone watching as well. And that's the key thing here. But it's going to be very, very interesting now. You know, Craggy's knocking on the door now. He's not too far behind, and he's, you know, staying on the podium. So it's going to be very interesting now to see how the drivers cope for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think Jeddah, of course. I'm expecting P1 for people to run lower wings in the lower tiers because of the straights. So I would expect people just to experiment on the wings. And it was a question that was asked in the pre-race interviews as well about whether they're going to be experimenting. And quite a lot of drivers, including myself, didn't want to give any hints. So, but I am predicting in P1 there's going to be quite a lot of drivers running low wings to make sure they have advantage, especially going into turn 1. So, Colin, I believe, is it your turn to go first this week for P1? Yes, it is. So it's your turn for P1. Let's see if you can redeem yourself. Come on. Let's go, Carl.
Right. So, my pole position is Kevin. However,
obviously, that's going to happen. Great.
Yeah. My race victory is going to Craggy. Second place, I've gone Kevin. And third place, I've gone Alex. So that's my pole and top 3.
Right. The only one that you stole from me was Alex, because I wanted him top 3, but he's not. But there we go. But I'm going to do the opposite to you for terms of pole and victory. So I think Craggy's going to take pole. I would have gone with Kevin, to be fair. But Kevin's going to take the victory. Craggy's going to take second. And I have to go for something really bold here if I would. I'm going to go with Marco P3. Marco, I think, is going to get P3 and he's going to redeem himself. Oh, damn it. I should have predicted him P1 because I think he won last time out in the wet. I remember that now. Right, I've locked it in. But I still get a point for if he gets on the podium. But there we go. Marco has done quite well around this track. So I think Marco's going to get P3. So that's my prediction. Of course, you can catch myself and Jamie at 7:30 p.m. UK time for the P1 tier. I'm almost guaranteed at least one tier this evening we're going to see a red flag because we got increased red flags. So how many tiers do you think are going to get red flags this evening, Cole?
I'm going to go with 2.
And what tiers?
2 and 3.
I'm going to go with 2 as well. But I'm going to go with 2 and 4.
Ooh.
So.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
I think P2 had one red flag, didn't they, this season already? I can't remember.
Yes, they have. Yes.
So there we go. But we're almost heading towards the end of the talk show. So we've got quite a few things to discuss. Car wear penalties. Now, I teased this earlier on in the show that P3 have got a lot, but we'll do P3 in just a moment. But for car wear penalties, a reminder to all drivers that you've got to take at least one engine penalty and one gearbox penalty per season. And you have to take it even if you join mid-season. So even if we had drivers joining midway through the season, they still have to take it. So say we've had drivers joining in round 11, unfortunately, they're going to have to take a penalty round 11 and 12. That's the aim of the game, unfortunately. But they have to take it. And there's quite a few drivers in quite a lot of tiers. I have to say P4 and P2 that have not taken a lot of penalties yet. P1 and P3, a lot of people have taken it over the last couple of weeks. But P2 and P4... we've still had quite a lot of drivers that haven't taken any of their penalties or still got one penalty to go. So please make sure you take them before your engine starts running out. So I will do P1 and P2, Cole, because of course you're in P1. So P1 tier, we only got 3 this week, and they're all gearbox. So P1, we've got Robite. He missed last week, so he had to take it over to this week. We've got Robite, Callum Unarmed, and Dave. Of course, Dave did the hot lap. And in P2, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So not as much last week again. We got Larkin, Zontal, Solau, and Kermit. They're all taking gearboxes. And I'm giving you a hint, everybody. That is a theme for quite a lot of tiers, apart from one, that a lot of people are taking gearbox penalties. But P3 is the interesting one, Cole. Reveal who's got penalties, because there's 9 of 9 drivers.
Yeah, which is wild. So there's 2 of those 9 drivers are taking an engine pen. That is Joe and Cam. Now, taking a gearbox is Rydog, Mikey, Mason, Jason, Hedquist, Waitsy, and yourself, Jess. So that is a lot of gearbox penalties to be taken. So don't forget, still very, very important you qualify well, because out of those drivers taking the gearbox, that driver who
qualifies
the highest is going to be considerably further up the road.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say why I'm taking my gearbox at Jeddah, because I'm predicting it's going to be chaos, which is why I didn't take my engine there. I took my engine elsewhere. And I just don't like the track. So there we go. That is the reasons why I'm taking my gearbox penalty here. And for quite a lot of drivers, I think Rydog, Cam, Joe, Mikey, Mason, Jason, Headfist, and me, I think Waitsy's are the same. We're done. We're basically done with our penalties. So after this race, so we don't have to worry about it. So we joined, I think, quite a lot of drivers in P3 after tonight that have already done theirs. But P4, Cole, the final one, and there's quite a lot of people taking it in P4 as well.
Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers taking car wear penalties in P4, 4 of which are engine. That's Kenzie,
5.
Gamer James. Oh, 5, sorry, yeah. Hockey Nye as well, sorry. Kenzie, Gamer James, Nightclear, and Oaken. And the driver taking the gearbox is Crawford. So quite a lot of penalties in P4 as well.
Yep. And for quite a lot of drivers, again, I think with Gamer James, I believe he is done, because I think he took a gearbox earlier on in the season. Nightclear as well. Okan, I believe, has taken his gearbox earlier on in the season as well. So we have people, Cole, that are starting in all tiers, that are starting to get their penalties out of the way, and they don't have to worry about it with the rest of the season. So there we go. And Mike's made an interesting point. The reason why people potentially may have taken their penalties here, because overtaking is easy, but staying ahead is difficult, which means we could see quite a lot of overtakes this evening.
Yes. That's the thing. I don't find this track particularly easy to overtake. You do tend to get a few DRS trains if drivers are not making errors. But the key thing is if
chaos.
They're not making errors. Yeah. And you know, someone could have an accident and cause an issue for 3 or 4 other drivers. It's that type of circuit. And this is why I think we might see a few red flags.
Yeah, I think we could see quite a few in some of the tiers as well. So those are the penalties situation. And the drivers who are taking penalties, including myself, are going to hope that it's going to be dry throughout the whole weekend, please. That'll be lovely. And we can only find out what the weather's going to do with our wheel. So adaptive weather system works as follows. We have around 18 weather combinations for quali and 20 for the race. Every week a wheel gets spun, and for one for quali and one for the race, and the combo that gets spun, that's going to be the combo for that race, and that will get removed from the pool unless it gets repeated, obviously. And then the same will happen for the race. We are only allowed 4 wet affected qualifying and only 4 wet affected races. So far, we've already had 2 wet affected qualifyings. So the chances now for rain in qualifying is reduced. But for the race, it's still quite high because we only had 1 wet affected race, which was Japan. So Japan was that. So your predictions, Carl. What do you want for quali?
Quali, I'd like dry. The race, monsoon.
Oh, God. I want it dry for all of it, please. So without further ado, let's spin the wheel for qualifying then for the Jeddah Grand Prix, the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. What's it going to be? It's going to be, oh no, wet to overcast.
That's going to be tricky.
Can we not have 1 week where it's raining not raining? I'm fed up with that. I'm rage quitting. I am rage quitting. So that is going to be interesting. We saw that last week, didn't we, Carl? That we thought that it was going to dry up like with 10 minutes to go and all 4 tiers. We didn't see that in P1, did we?
No, unusually so. It didn't dry up at the end. So that made life a bit awkward for some of the drivers.
And they were probably fed up as well. But let's move on to the race where Colin wants a monsoon. I want dry. Rydog wants rain in the chat. So is Welsh Benjamin. So we'll see then, shall we? What's the weather going to be for the race? You can see the wheel once more. And let's spin the wheel. Here we go. Is it going to be dry? It starts off light cloud. It's light cloud to overcast to clear. Right, I can breathe easy now. It's going to be a dry race. Phew. So for those people that have got their penalties out the way tonight in Jeddah or the last few races, they're probably the lead right now.
Oh, I would certainly say so. It's a very, very difficult track to overtake. And even harder in the rain because obviously you haven't got DRS. So those drivers are going to be delighted that they've got some DRS to help them overtake.
So if you still got some penalties left, good luck, because the chances of rain for the remainder of the season has increased now. So there we go. So we won't have time to go through all the sponsors, but if you're still looking for a setup for Jeddah tonight, you could use the code OneHub Racing at checkout to get 10% off setups from Sim Racing Setups. You can go on their website, simracingsetups.com. And of course, we've got our title sponsor, Delta.app, where you could use the command !Delta. You could track all your investments if you're over 18. So make sure you check out that. But also thank you to our other sponsors, Pure Sim Gear, Next Level Racing, and our partners, Vespertine and SimGrid, and our official charity, Mental Health Foundation. Colin, any final thoughts before we all wrap up and have some lunch?
Just good luck to all the drivers and try and keep it clean. And let's see how we get on. Don't forget, the weather is on approximate, like we had on previous races. Prepare for all eventualities.
Yeah, and make sure you do a bit of practice between now and when your race starts. So, P3 will be at 3 o'clock. P4, will be at 3 o'clock, and it'll be Liam. Papa can't join, so I'm doing double duty tonight. So it'll be myself and Liam in the commentary box for P4, but Liam is streaming, so I could sort out the P3 lobby with 15 minutes to go. In P3, it'll be at 4:30 with Jake and Curly in the commentary box. In P2, it will be at 6 p.m. with Mike and Matt in the commentary box. And at P1, it'll be 7:30 with myself and Jamie in the commentary box. So thank you all for listening. Have some nice food, everybody. And we will see you at 3 p.m. for the P40, as they are the first drivers to attempt the circuit. Will we see the championship lead close up? Will it increase? Or who knows? Mark my words. Anyway, take care, everybody, and we will see you all at 3 o'clock for the first race. Goodbye.
Goodbye, all. Good luck.